reel. He also made several chess sets. Chess set in a case, and also boards. He got a cardboard. The chess sets he made out of wood, and also a European game, Merlin it's called. I still have the board for that. But he loved to make these things out of cardboard and wood.
Yeah, he also made many inventions.
Next example, you might talk
When
about this also.
when our parents came to America, as you know, it was a very sudden decision. They had to leave Nazi Germany, and they didn't really speak English. Like my father had 1 year of English, I think, in high school, and but as soon as he got there, he began lecturing, and his first lecture was at Princeton University, and that was this lecture on composition of 12 tones, as we heard yesterday. And it's very interesting to look at his manuscripts that he used when he read these lectures. He prepared them almost like a music score. There are fermatas and accents and underlined words and rests, so that it really looks almost like a score. There aren't any pianissimi, I don't think. But there must have been one word that he just couldn't pronounce. And therefore, in this lecture, he notated it on the staff. And it is incompatibility.
And if you look at the arrow is pointing to that easel, and on the easel is sheets of paper. And this is something I recall really about that. It was important for me at the time. Is that what he did before that is he had constructed this staff with wax pencils and a little. And I actually had quite a few of these different ones. He made some of them with little metal clips, and this was a wood. And then that, together with butcher paper, he was able to make prepare his lessons. And it's so fortuitous that he had done it that way, because it means that those 200 and 300 sheets, which are now preserved at the center in Vienna, one can actually, in a way, recreate some of the things and the examples that he used in his lessons. And of course, many of these things he prepared for them. So some of them were spontaneous, but also he had prepared things for the lessons. So there's a terrific advantage that we have that. And I know that for all of us, this particular Sunday classes, we have particular memories. And Ronnie, you have something special about those.
Well, I have memories because I was never there. Sunday was, I was a tennis player at that time, and Sunday was usually the day for the finals of the tennis tournament. And later, pupils told me that during these classes, my father sometimes appeared very nervous. He would never say anything about my playing tennis, of course, during the class, but the class would go on, and then the telephone would ring, and he would excuse himself for a few moments, and then he would come back and continue the class, and everyone knew whether I'd won or lost.
Did he also play, or what kind of a player was he?
Well, we'll come to that. Or we've come to it, I guess. That is a picture. Well, you skipped the other picture, but this is the picture of him watching me play. He took great interest in watching all of us play, or at least Nuria and me. And that is taken at a tournament in Altadena, actually, where he, I thought he had a heart attack, but Mary says it was just a collapse. But I know he did have to be taken away in an ambulance then.
It was quite far from us.
That was 1950, yeah, it was about an hour's away from home. I remember that sort of very traumatic experience. But he did watch, and that's a great picture, I think, of my father and mother nervously watching. this is proof of something. We've been talking about critics a lot and how they sometimes very unfairly criticize my father, and there was no way to prove really that there so often isn't that they're wrong. Well, one critic wrote a very scurrilous, damning story about my father, sort of a biographical blurb. But I think my father would have loved his little blurb, because one of the things he wrote, and this is the one thing that we can prove is not true, was that my father was an expert tennis player. What you just saw was a picture of him trying to play tennis. He loved tennis. He played all the time and as long as he could. And Leonard Stein, his assistant, tells that they had to hit the balls to him because he couldn't run very well. And later, of course, he's pretty old then, but he would spend a lot of time playing, but no one could ever say, truthfully, that he was a good tennis player. And there's the proof. This, now, may look like other things that he did for music, but it's a scoring system for tennis that he developed. And he thought that this would help by showing how the points were won or lost, and he had symbols for every different way, out or net and volley and all kinds of things, and very precise and scientific, and that's a score of a match I actually played, a finals that I played. And it's all very objective and scientific, and then in one spot he is called out, but protested, wrong decision. Well, he thought I got bad calls. I lost that match.
Student at UCLA. A question I was going to ask you is, did you ever talk to Mother or Daddy about what your major was going to be in college, or was there any, and why, how did you get into pre-med? Why was it pre-med?
I was good at science in high school. You know, that's how things used to go. You know, you were good at sciences, then you became, when pre-med, you were good at writing, and you did either, I don't know, law or...
Did Daddy ever say anything
and
about
I
it?
did, well, when I was deciding, you know, I guess I must have asked, and I remember that he said, just so you do something that's useful to society. So I guess that was part of my decision to become a pre-med, and then I became a composer